Novak Djokovic won't be playing at Paris-Bercy in the Paris Masters, a tournament he has won 7 times. It has been made official in the last hour or so at the time of this recording on Tuesday, and the Serbian media was the first to report this news, but Novak Djokovic himself has pulled out of Paris-Bercy. So that opens the door for someone else to win the Paris Masters. Of course, Djokovic has had a stranglehold on that tournament, aside from a couple final losses to Holger Rune and Karen Khachanov in the last 6 years or so relatively recent times. But for the most part, he's dominated that tournament and really used it as a leapfrog, as a great preparation for the ATP finals. And that's leading on to my next point. And I hope I'm not jumping the gun here, but according to Serbian media, Djokovic has skipped Paris and he is likely planning on skipping the ATP finals if he does hold on and does qualify for the ATP finals. That isn't exactly in Djokovic's own hands. Alex de Minaur currently playing in Vienna. Rublev and Casper Ruud are below Djokovic, and one of those players, or rather de Minaur, is most likely to come into the 8. He has about a 600-point gap between Djokovic and de Minaur. There's 1,500 points up for grabs. De Minaur could easily win Vienna, win a couple matches in Paris, and there you go. He's into Djokovic's spot. Of course, Casper Ruud and Rublev do need to get a pretty minuscule amount of points. Not too many, about 100 or 200 points. Of course, Jannik Sinner on top. We won't worry about those players on the top, but you do have Alcaraz, Sinner, Zverev, and Medvedev qualified already. Taylor Fritz is on his way to qualify. Djokovic, of course, has a pretty sizable gap, but he's not playing anymore. And the ATP Finals qualification is set after the Paris Masters. There's another week of tournaments following Paris, which include the Belgrade Open, but Djokovic has said he won't be playing in Serbia, which is a bit of a surprise, but we'll get to the conversation about him resting in a moment. De Minaur to Djokovic, what is that? That's about a 515-point gap. So winning Vienna and winning one round in Paris will likely be enough, but I wouldn't expect de Minaur to win in Vienna. So perhaps a semi-final in Vienna and a quarter-final in Paris, some sort of equation like that would likely be enough for de Minaur to leapfrog Djokovic. Of course, as I said, Casper Ruud and Rublev will need to do their job, but I'd say it's about 50-50 as to whether Djokovic would even qualify in the first place.
Hey football stars, is your kid holding you back? Time for an upgrade. Soccer Artos, introducing the ultimate football kit. It's sleek, it's bold, and it will make you look like a pro, all without breaking the bank. Crafted with high quality, moisture wicking fabric, you'll stay cool while crushing it on the field. And guess what? It's affordable too. Use the code SPORT for 10% off. Grab yours now and dominate the pitch in style. Gear up, play hard, look fly without the hefty price tag.
Moving back to that previous source, Djokovic, if he does choose to skip the ATP finals, which he has won the last 2 times in a green kit, which actually he would be wearing this time again, which is a bit of a side note for out of interest. So according to Serbian media, the Australian Open is likely going to be Djokovic's next tournament, and he needs some rest. It's undeniable, but is it worth skipping the ATP finals? A chance to win title 100 leading into the Australian Open as a bit of a boost, because although making the final of Shanghai has to increase Djokovic's confidence to some extent and still prove to himself that he can compete at the highest level, having that 99 on the board going into 2025 is a bit of a annoying one, considering the next chance to win the 100th title would be in Australia, which would make sense, of course, the most successful tournament in his career. And additional stress, is that needed? But that's a bit of a side note, a bit of a side story. The most important part is if Djokovic does choose to rest, he's going to be rejuvenated. Of course, coming off this knee surgery, he's played Wimbledon, the Olympics, Shanghai, the US Open, even the King's Slam, the 6 King's Slam on that knee, which is still not 100%. There's no way that knee is completely back to normal. It's only been 3 months since June, July. So still needs some time to recover, perhaps not even playing tennis for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks even, will give that knee a chance to heal further. And I'm not going to get into the scientific anatomical side of it, but it's an interesting debate. Is it worth skipping Turin? Is Turin perhaps not that good a preparation for the Australian Open? Very fast conditions in Turin. Of course, a hard court, but Melbourne plays very differently. And enough about Djokovic and his potential end of 2024. Nadal has recently had nothing but praise for Novak Djokovic. Of course, they had their final match on the weekend, and Nadal had this to say about Djokovic. He's a player who has managed to maintain a very high level and improve every year. the numbers show he's the best, which means his tennis has also been the best. And he's been the most injury-free. He always has to add that in though, but fair enough, which allowed him to maintain his physical, mental, and tennis levels longer than anyone else, I guess. That's why he's the best and he's earned it. And Nadal, a sort of newfound respect for Djokovic, but always manages to, say he's only the best because he's been injury-free, and perhaps because he's taking care of his body more so than other athletes. But that is a bit of an interesting tweet that I saw, and it's worth noting, just Nadal paying respect to Djokovic, but a bit of a different one. I'm sure a lot of you guys know former Man United, former Uruguayan sensation Diego Forlan, footballer, will be making his professional tennis debut at the Uruguay Open in November. He'll be playing the doubles and at the Uruguay Open. And what a chance for him to show what he's got on a tennis court in a professional setting. I haven't really seen him play. There we go, left-handed, which is a bit interesting. But he could be like Nadal, on those blue clay courts. I'm not sure what the Uruguay Open looks like, but good luck to Forlan, and hopefully his tennis career can be 2% as good as his football career, and that would be pretty successful. And of course, this video is being recorded prior to Dominic Thiem's first match at the Vienna Open, and fingers crossed he can win that opening match. But last night, or a couple of days ago actually, he versed Alexander Zverev in a bit of an exhibition curtain raiser to the Vienna Open, and a bit of a chance to celebrate his career alongside his great friend Zverev. And of course, Domi is a bit of a unsung hero, a bit of a legend in the lost generation. I guess there's been a lot of lost generations in tennis. He was such an amazing player. His level really did rival Djokovic, Nadal, Federer towards the end of their careers. He wasn't really the same player after winning that US Open in 2020, but that peak is as great as any of these other players at the moment. And a Grand Slam to his name, something that his friend can't say just yet. We'll see what happens in the future with Zverev. It's a shame what happened with his wrist injury and all the other injuries he's been dealing with. And I hope he keeps a name in the tennis world, because he'll be sorely missed on the tennis court at least. So we'll keep a keen eye as to what Dominic Thiem will be doing post-playing career. So that's about it. Just a bit of an update video regarding Djokovic's withdrawals and what it means for the ATP Finals. Australian Open perhaps is his next tournament, is likely, to be honest, his next tournament, regardless of any qualification implications. And of course, Dominic Thiem, Diego Forlan, Rafael Nadal's comments, a bit of a mixed video, a bit of a news video as we used to do. And yeah, that's about it. Until next time.